Bhutale, Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinam. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Picharine Nirvisesan Sunyavadi Asyatya De Santarine. Vanchiko Bhatu Yascha Kripa Sindhu Pevacha Ditanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. Eko Pravite Kodi Kovido Malabhyate Tad Pramata Varyada Tad Labhyate Dukana Anvasukam Kalena Sarvatra Sambira Ramhasa. There's a verse in the first canto, 5th chapter, verse number 18, which says that just as no one tries for miseries, and yet miseries automatically come, one should not try for happiness, because happiness will also come automatically. The verse is indicating that one should not try to work in such a way as to bring about material happiness. One should engage in the service of the Lord, because material happiness and material suffering is already destined according to one's karma. As we traverse through body after body, we compound and continue to compound a karmic interest. And these interests, they gradually develop, and many of them fructify where others are come out in later parts of life. But in any case, any activity that is performed under the influence of the material energy has a particular result. And so in the same way, people we find are very enthusiastic to avoid suffering and bring about material success and happiness by their endeavors. But the verse is warning that that is a waste of time, because no one can change how much you are suffering and how much you are destined to enjoy. It comes automatically. Sometimes we see someone who is very sinful is getting a lot of material benefit. And we see that someone who is very pious may be getting material suffering. And this is all to the fructification of karma at a certain time in their life. So all of that builds up and it manifests at a certain point. So therefore, one should not worry how to enjoy or how to relieve suffering. One should engage in devotional service. And that is Susukam Kartamavyayam, or that is Yusman Brahma Saukyam Tvanantam. That the happiness that comes with devotional life is actually the real happiness. And one should try for that happiness by engaging in devotional service. And that is not under the influence of the three modes of material nature, therefore it's not karma. It's the results of service to the Supreme Lord. And therefore it's automatic. But the whole world is situated on the idea of increasing happiness and decreasing misery by trying to rearrange the material energy in order to facilitate those two things. But no one can do that. Even the best material situation may lead to someone suffering. For instance, in the United States of America and other places too, they have what is called the lottery. And the lottery is like a gambling program where you may walk into a particular store, you give $1, and they give you a number. And at a certain time, there is a drawing of numbers. And if your number is drawn, then you win a large amount of money. And sometimes that amount of money is into the millions of dollars. So many people have won that, they call it the lottery. And what history has shown by follow-up in the lives of these people, that many of their life became more, they gained more suffering simply by winning that money. People tried to kill them to get the money, or did kill them. There is examples of, relatives and friends looking for ways to get to the money, or they might have used the money simply to engage in all kinds of sinful activities, and therefore they brought about more and more suffering upon themselves. So apparently something that was good, they won a large amount of money, but their karma was to suffer. And so that's what was the result. So that is how the material energy works. It doesn't matter what happens to you, happiness and distress is automatically coming along with your birth. It says that when you take birth in this material world, you have already a series of karmas that will soon fructify into a particular reaction. So the verse says also that one who is philosophically inclined does not endeavor for any material position anywhere within the three worlds. That's another feature of the material arrangement, where one is trying to improve their material position by one's economic gain, or by getting posted in a certain way within the society or within the community. So all of these goes on as life, but people can't change their happiness and distress. We'll give you an example. Well, what we see sometimes, like a person will be living in a very cold climate. So there's some suffering that's attached to that, the misery of the cold. So a person will think, I should move out of here into a warmer climate where life will be more pleasant. So they do that. So they avoid the suffering that comes by way of cold. But then again, that suffering that they're destined to get will come in another form. So one may change their position and change how the suffering comes or how the enjoyment comes, but they can't change the amount. The amount will come automatically due to one's destiny. But one can change their destiny if they engage in devotional service. As soon as one engages in devotional service, one is under the influence of the spiritual energy. It's called Daivi Prakriti. And therefore, the activities that one performs in relationship to Krishna is called akarma, without karma. There's no good karma, there's no bad karma. There is freedom from all karmic reactions. So the results of that activities is that it purifies the heart and awakens within a person their attachment to Krishna. And as that continues, one experiences what is called Brahma Sokyam, or that happiness that is of the nature of the soul. or spirit. So an intelligent person will not try to simply manipulate their material energy, but will take to devotional service. Even if they take the devotional service in order to improve their material happiness or happiness in general, that is an entrance into the process. Of course, the idea is once one becomes situated in regulated devotional service, one will understand what is the actual goal of devotional service. The goal of devotional service is prema pumarta mahan, and it's actually meant to awaken one's love for Krishna. And on that platform, there is no suffering. Sometimes devotees experience difficulties or some setbacks or apparent suffering, but that's what it is. It's apparent. It's a kind of inconvenience, or maybe a slap by Krishna in order to adjust the devotees' mentality in how they are executing their devotional service. In other words, it may come in a form as a correction from the Supreme Lord. Or immediately when one takes to devotional service, they're still getting the residual effects of their previous karma, but in a minimized way. That's why it says when one takes initiation from the bona fide spiritual master, then the bona fide spiritual master's service to the Lord is to accept the karmic karma of his disciple. A partial amount of that on the first initiation and complete on the second initiation. Now that way the devotee is free from the reactions of all their karma, and one can easily execute devotional service without any interference from the material energy. And that situation runs nicely in the process of devotional service. We are part and parcel of Krishna, as it mentions here, and we get freedom as much as we deserve. When we misuse our freedom, then we cause suffering. So the living entity, because it has the same nature as the Lord is pure spirit, and we are pure spirit. But the analogy is given for the sake of understanding, just like a drop of water has the same qualities of the water, but it doesn't have the same quantity. A drop of water to an ocean, and there's the characteristics in the anatomical characteristics of that drop is the same as the ocean, but it doesn't have the same capacity. Therefore, although we do have some freedom, our freedom is marginal. What is that freedom? Our freedom really comes down to choosing between activities that elevate our consciousness towards Krishna and activities that entangle the mind, body, senses in the reactions of work. So one should avoid entangling oneself by engaging in devotional service. So we have a choice. Krishna doesn't force the living entity to accept devotional service, but he highly encourages the living entity in different ways. One of the ways, of course, is to bring about material suffering upon the living entity. So they start to understand that, hey, I'm suffering. Why am I suffering? And then they may alert themselves to the idea that actually, if I engage in something spiritual, I can stop my suffering. So therefore, Krishna mentions in the Bhagavad Gita how people who are suffering material energy are good candidates for the spiritual energy. It becomes, again, quite natural. So this independence, if it's misused, It simply causes suffering. It's like a child may be given a little bit independence by the parent. Because the child is young, it doesn't know how to act. So the parent is always guiding the child and watching over the child. But still, the child may also have some choice in what it does. But ultimately, still, it's governed by higher powers. So whether we work under the guidance of Krishna directly in devotional service, or we work under Krishna's energy, the three modes of material nature, we are still controlled. We can never be free from control. That is our nature. So the idea is devotional service. And therefore, Queen Kunti is saying, in distributing your mercy, my dear Lord, you are equal to everyone. So Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, Samoham sarvabhuteshu name dvesastina priya, that I am equal to everyone. I envy no one. I'm not partial. But anyone who engages in devotional service is a friend, and I am a friend in them also. So Krishna is the friend of all living entities. He says, Suhidam Sarvadehinam, as he mentions in the 5th chapter, 29th verse of the Bhagavad Gita, that he's everyone's friend. And he gives a little independence, but he's also watching over at the same time. So those who are using their independence to serve the material energy, they are under the influence of karma. And therefore, Krishna is equal. Just like the example Prabhupada would give, it's like you live in the state, you follow the rules of the laws of the state, you're considered a good citizen, you get the benefits that the state's offers. But if you decide not to follow the instructions of the spiritual master and do things differently, then you are ultimately subjected to the reactions of your activities. So people talk about freedom, or here's freedom. Freedom means devotional service. And therefore, Krishna is equal to everyone. Even to the demons. The demons will be killed by Krishna, but why does he do that? In order to liberate them from their demoniac nature and to elevate them to a higher platform. So because they are freed from the reactions of their sinful activities upon getting killed, then they can also become devotees. So this is a beautiful, beautiful prayer. She's actually directly approaching the Lord as eternal time, supreme controller. He doesn't have a beginning and he doesn't have any end. He is everywhere. He's equal to everyone. And here, people sometimes, this last sentence is very important to understand. The dissensions between living beings are due to social intercourse. So the problems that we have within the material energy, particularly when we have these problems with other living entities, is simply due to the actions of the material energy. That's all. Krishna is not responsible, nor does he get involved with the happiness and distress of the living being, no matter if they're in a spiritual world or they're in the material world. I'm sorry. In the spiritual world, he guides. In the material world, he has nothing to do with the actions and reactions. He's like a watchmaker who manufactures a watch, makes it available, and it works in a certain way. So the material energy works under the guidance of Krishna, but he is not directly involved with anyone's happiness or distress. Okay, so these are some points that we could think about. Any questions or comments? And of course, he's situated in the heart of all living entities. So he's constantly with the living being, giving and guiding, and also giving the reactions of one's activities. Yeah. If you want Krishna, then all the energy of the spiritual nature will be drawn to you. If you want material happiness or material activities, then you draw that energy to you. So we can choose based on our desire. So the idea is to desire Krishna, desire devotional service. And that will bring us into the association of those who are performing devotional service. And we will also get the opportunity to do the same. So everything is based on our desire. So people cannot see that because sometimes in a previous life, we have done something, and because the situation was not favorable, we didn't get the reactions of our devotional, our material activities. For instance, an example would be, say you owe a large sum of money and you have your debtors, they're waiting for you, but you don't have the money. So they wait until you gain the money, and once you gain the money, then you pay off your debts. So you may not have that money at the time of the debt, but it will come in due course of time by your endeavor. So in the same way, our karmic reactions may not come immediately or even within this life, but they will come according to when the situation is right. A perfect example would be Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra was he was the
Uh, Hare Krishna Maharaj. I think there is an internet issue there. We can wait for some time.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, we lost connection for a minute there. Any questions or comment?
No. Maharaj, actually, you were explaining about the example of Dhritarashtra.
Yeah. Is there any questions there? We have a question from Prema Bhakti.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Please accept my very humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to you.
Haribo, Jai Ho.
Yeah, Maharaj, you just explained about that. I think in the previous class you gave an example of a grey this tank where it's filled up, and then you turn the tap and it comes out the karma. Karma, is that right? If you could explain that one for us, please.
What was the example?
It's a tank. It's a Ceylon. It's a Ceylon tank. I think it's a grains where you store grains in, and then you turn the tap.
Oh yeah.
Comes out. Well, yeah. If you could please explain that a bit more.
That's how material karma works. Yeah.
That material karma works, right?
Yeah, material karma.
Right.
In other words, as you're performing an activity now, you're building up the reactions of karma. But what you have done in the past may be coming out in the present situation. And the example is when you put grains into a silo, you put it on the top, and when you want to get the grains out, you open the door that's on the bottom, and then you get that. So what you might be receiving now is different than what you're doing at the present time.
Right. But it will come at some point.
Yeah, unless you engage in devotion. When you engage in devotional service, then the reactions of your previous karma, both good and bad, is gradually mitigated and ultimately eliminated by the mercy of the spiritual master.
Okay. Thank you, Maharaj. That's great. Well, by the way, thank you. You made me very spiritually happy.
Yeah. Thank you. You like your name?
Yeah. I've got so many texts and WhatsApp messages from the congregation in Manchester. And yeah, everyone was just so kind words. Say very nice name. Very nice. Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for taking up devotional service.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
In a serious way. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So,
Raj Prabhuji has a question in chat. Prabhuji, would you like to ask your question?
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. There was just a moment ago, you said material karma. And that made me think, is there something else? Is there like a spiritual karma?
no. Bhagavad Gita explains karma, vikarma, and akarma. Karma means activities that bring auspicious results. Vikarma means activities that bring inauspicious results. And akarma is devotional service. Means without. So devotional service has no material results. But what happens is the devotee is purifying their heart, coming closer to Krishna, and these activities are not under the influence of the three modes of material nature. They're under the para prakriti, or we also call it daivi prakriti. Prakriti means energy. Daivi means transcendental. Para means transcendental or spiritual. So, devotional service has no material results, although it may look like that. It's not results of one's material activities.
Okay, thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah, that's the science. It's mentioned in the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita. The three kinds of karma.
Okay, thank you, Maharaj. That's what I thought, but then I was confused when you said material karma.
All karma is material. There's spiritual, the activities of one's devotional service are not under the influence of karma. They're given directly by Krishna through the spiritual energy.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Very well.
Namrata Mataji, please go ahead.
Namrata.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, I was just wondering if during the initiation, when Guru initiates a disciple, he takes the karma. He takes the previous karmic reactions of the disciple. So what does that mean when Guru takes the karmas of the disciple? Because if there are so many sinful people, I mean, if Guru will take, they have to face the reactions, the severe reactions.
No.
What does that mean?
To come to devotional service, no, the spiritual master takes part of your karma on the first initiation and the remainder on the second. So what is you wouldn't be able to perform devotional service if you still have to get the results of your good and bad karma. It'll interfere with the process of devotional service. So that is relegated to the spiritual master. He takes that. That's why sometimes the spiritual master also may undergo some suffering, apparently, such as
I think we can wait for Maharaj to join back.
Okay, did you get that?
No, Guru Maharaj, you disconnected. So the answer was half the way.
Well, I said the answer just as it disconnected. Yeah,
You said
you will not be able to perform devotional service if you're still influenced by your previous karma. It'll interfere. So that's the mercy of the spiritual master. He takes the karma.
Maharaj, I exactly am thinking that if a since the persons are coming from many different
It doesn't
backgrounds.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's the service of the spiritual master. And Krishna gives the spiritual master something, because ultimately he can also nullify the effects of the karma upon the spiritual master, and he does that. But that's why Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very carefully mentions one should not accept too many disciples, because then the karmic compound might be too much for the spiritual master, and it becomes difficult for him. That's why it's always a idea to have as many spiritual masters as possible, so one doesn't become overburdened by disciples. It's a burden.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. I think I almost got the answer. I was just wondering that people come from many backgrounds and they carry so much sins, and if a guru is taking so many sins, I mean, even before initiating, we would think that how can I give my sinful karmas to guru. So yeah, you definitely answered the question.
Don't worry. That's not the problem. The problem is once you take initiation, if you start committing sinful activities, again, that's the problem. That's the problem. And that happens. People start breaking the four regulative principles, don't chant their rounds. That's the problem.
And then it becomes the offense and they have to face the reaction, Guru Maharaj.
If they stop chanting their rounds or don't chant 16 rounds, they suffer, not the guru. If they break the principles, then both the spiritual master and the disciple have to undergo reactions for that. So it says also that one should not carry a sinful disciple. If the sinful disciple is constantly breaking the principles, it's the duty of the spiritual master either to correct them or to reject them. It doesn't mean that once you're initiated, you're initiated. The spiritual master can pull that initiation away anytime he wants. Don't think, well, now I'm initiated, I'm okay. No, the spiritual master can again say you're Bhakti Louis again, Bhakti Betty again, It doesn't mean because I'm initiated, I'm initiated. No, initiation is a consciousness in the state of activities. It's not simply a formal ceremony. But Krishna mitigates the results of the reactions upon his spirit, behind his representative. The problem is not coming and taking the sinful reactions of others. The problem is either you take on too many disciples, it can become difficult, or disciples again go back to sinful activities. That's these are the two problems. So it says one should not take too many disciples. Oh, what is too many? Well, that's relative to the strength of the spiritual master.
And Guru Maharaj, some I have heard, I mean, I have read some of the yogis and all, they have more than one Diksha Guru. Is it recommended that one can have more than one Diksha Guru?
No, only one. Diksha
Only
is
one.
one, Shiksha are many.
Okay.
Diksha is one, Shiksha is many. Can be many.
Okay, thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah, that's from the Shastra. You can read that in Chaitanya Charitamrita. If you read the first chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita, it gives you all the information about Guru. Adi Lila, chapter 1.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. That clarifies. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Raj Prabhu, do you have a follow-up question? Do you want to go ahead?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, when you were talking, I can't remember the exact words. It's something like Krishna is equal to everyone, but partial to those engaging in devotional service.
It's the same verse I just quoted.
Yeah, so I was just, maybe you can explain, because when I think of I can engage in activities of devotional service, but maybe until I have love of God, it doesn't become devotional. So what is devotional service in that phrase, and at what stage does Krishna become partial?
Hare Krishna. I don't know, maybe it will take time for Maharaj to join back or something. So, in order to in order to continue our discussion, would anyone like to share any realization? Raj Prabhu, should we take up your question and then take realization from devotees? Is there any? Or if anyone wants to share anything, please go ahead.
Dear Vrinda, please accept my humble obeisance.
Okay.
I
Maharaj,
actually have a question. Please forgive me for interrupting. I hope it's okay.
Maharaj has joined.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, this internet is so bad here. It just keeps jumping off. I have to do something to get it fixed, but so far we haven't had any luck, so I don't know. It's just the place I'm at. It's just a particular place where there's this internet system that is real bad. So, anyway, what was Raj, what was your question again?
So you were talking earlier about the Krishna is equal to everyone, but partial to those engaging in devotional service. And I was asking, what does that devotional service mean, and at what stage is he partial? Because I can engage in activities of devotional service, but can it really be called devotional service until I have love of God?
Well, he's not partial. He reciprocates accordingly. That's all. So, but he reciprocates differently because people approach him. So if you approach him in devotion, he reciprocates in devotion. You approach him in a material way, then you reciprocate with his material energy. That's all. Everything is within the energies of Krishna, but the energies work differently according to the desire and the activities of the living being. So it's up to you, the individual. It's like if you hold something in front of the mirror, the object is going to be reflected in the mirror. So Krishna is reciprocal, that's all. So that makes him look partial, but he's not. It's just the way he reciprocates. He kills the demons, but for the demons, he gives them liberation. So in other words, he shows them favor by killing them.
Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Devananda Pandit Prabhuji has a question. Prabhuji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, dear Guru Maharaj, please accept your humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. My question is, I heard today from one devotee that when one chants japa and has material desires, that desires fulfilled, and eventually the one goes to hell. Is it true?
Not necessarily. You can have, devotees have material desires and they're chanting Hare Krishna. If you're trying to fulfill your material desires, then that's different.
Oh, he said that desires fulfilled automatically.
No. Krishna will see, oh, this devotee wants me, but he wants material desires. So I won't allow him to fulfill his material desires. But sometimes he does. It depends on what he decides to do. Well, do you think Krishna is going to send a devotee to hell because he has material desires? No, that's not Krishna. He doesn't do that. He's trying to help you make advancement by giving you the process of devotional service. But if a devotee is determined to get something material from devotional service, then Krishna may do that just to show the devotee that, you know, you're simply asking for suffering, that's all. But that's up to Krishna. You can't say it's an absolute principle. He works according to the individual.
Hare Krishna.
If you want Krishna and you want material desires, then you're a fool.
Yes, I do.
Because when you get Krishna, you get everything. And when you get material desires fulfilled, what do you get? You get some temporary satisfaction which leads to suffering anyway. That's all. Krishna talks about that directly. In order to show favor, he won't fulfill that material desire.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Vrindavan Nath Prabhuji has raised his hand. Prabhuji, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, dear Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, you mentioned earlier that we can change the destiny by engaging ourselves in devotional service. But my question is that here devotional service refers to complete surrender, or it can also refer to partial surrender. Because I was hearing like few days back only in one lecture that Krishna is not happy with demigods, or even it was actually in context of Jagannath Ji, that he is not even happy with Mother Lakshmi, because in comparison to devotee, because they still would like to maintain their positions and opulence like all these demigods, while devotees fully surrender to Krishna. So when we are talking, Guru Maharaj, this changing destiny with devotional service, that's my point, that is this full surrender or is this partial also? Okay.
Well, there are akama devotees and sakama. The demigods are sakama. Sakama means with material desires, and then there's devotees that are akama, without material desires. Both are engaged in devotional service. Demigods are devotees also, but they have some material desire, that's all. It's like, you know, us. Unless we're pure devotees, we still have material desires. And but the only difference is with the demigods, they want that position. That's why they're demigods. So they're serving Krishna from that position, so that they're called sakama devotees. But the akama devotees are in a better position to receive the mercy of the Lord. So in the third canto, Srimad Bhagavatam describes devotional service in the mode of goodness, devotional service in the mode of passion, and devotional service in the mode of ignorance. So devotional service cannot be in any of those modes, but people who execute it can be. So people are executing devotional service in the mode of passion. That means they're looking for some material results from their devotional service. Devotional service in the mode of ignorance means I'm using devotional service to destroy my enemies. I have some enemies, and therefore I'm chanting Hare Krishna so I can destroy them. It's devotional service in the mode of ignorance. Devotional service in the mode of goodness is I am, that's the demigods. For pure devotional service is Savai Pum Samparo Dharmo, Yato Bhakti Ahoksaje, Ahoitukiya Priyata, Yayatma Suprasidati. Without any motivation, without any interruption. So most people, no one comes to devotional service free from material desires. So people are executing devotional service with material desires, but the focus is let me get rid of my material desires and let me engage in pure devotional service. So there's two kinds of pure devotees. Those who are fully purified and those who have pure intention. So if you have pure intention, although you still have material desires, you're also considered to be situated on the platform of devotional service. You want only Krishna, but your material desires are still lingering. That's all. But a devotee will not act on those desires. If you act on them, then they become stronger. That's all.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. This is really, really helpful. I was really, really confused that am I ever going to get Krishna Prem? Because mind wants Krishna, but sometimes in the material world we feel, oh, this is happening, oh, like this and that. But as you said, that desires can be there, we should not act. We should try not to act on those. So that's
don't try to fulfill your material desires. Just depend on Krishna on everything you do. That's all. Depend on Krishna for whatever, for your intelligence. Depend on Krishna for your food. Depend on Krishna for your family arrangements. Depend on Krishna for your occupation. Just depend on Krishna.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Should it be? No, this is Kalakan.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji, go ahead. Kalakanti Radhika Mataji. Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Vrinda Devi. I'm with Kalakanti right now.
Okay.
Please accept my humble obeisances, dear Guru Maharaj. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I would like a repeat of that answer you gave Namrata. Unfortunately, I could not hear the answer correctly. Her question was, what happens to the spiritual master with the sinful reactions of disciples? What happens at the time of initiation to the spiritual master? I think that was the question.
Namrata,
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
did you understand the answer?
Yes, I did, Guru Maharaj.
Okay, tell Sri Devi.
Okay. So it is the spiritual master when gives initiation and during the first initiation, he takes the partial karmas or partial sins of a particular disciple, not the entire. And the spiritual master have that power that they can take the sins, because there are disciples from all kinds of backgrounds. So, but if the problem is not when the person is getting initiated and the guru takes the sinful reaction, the partly sinful reactions, but it happens when if he continues the same sin, continues his sins or activities even after the initiation, so he has to pay for the reactions after that. Am I yeah. Am I clear for that?
Yeah, that was correct. Yeah, you made a nice explanation. Yeah.
Thank you.
So Guru Maharaj, when we say partially, what does that mean? That the Guru takes partially the
Just
reaction?
ask Krishna. Ask him. He's the one that's giving it. He's going to give some of the reactions to the spiritual master and nullify it's up to Krishna.
But why does the spiritual master have to suffer the reaction for whatever his disciple did and all those sinful reactions? Why Krishna is giving that?
Don't worry about that. Worry about not committing any more sinful acts. That's the only concern.
Okay. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as I mentioned, said not to take too many disciples. The spiritual strength of the spiritual master depends on how many disciples he can take. If he takes too many, he could have problems. So then again, what's too many? Well, that's depends on the strength of the spiritual master.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. I understand that it's more important that after initiation not to commit sinful activities.
Yeah.
That's more
Correct.
important than worrying about what reaction the spiritual master will get because of my past misdeed.
Yeah, you'll never figure that out anyway.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj, for all these beautiful answers. Thank you.
Okay.
Are there any more? Yes. Are there any more questions, realizations from devotee side? Okay. If not, then Maharaj, with your permission, should we end for today's call?
Yeah, it's up to you. You're in charge.
Okay, so we will end our call here. I will just quickly announce about the upcoming retreat.
Okay. This is where I have to depart during the end.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for your time and association today. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So I will just announce about the upcoming retreat, which is coming very soon, from 24th to 27th of June in Bhaktivedanta Manor, Lincoln. So if you still have not registered, please go ahead, because I think registrations are getting filled up very fast. Also, there will be guest speakers, His Grace Bhuta Bhavana Prabhu and Her Grace Chiti Shakti Mataji. So please take advantage of this retreat, and it would be a wonderful time with Devotees Association. So with this, I would like to pay my obeisances. Vancha kalpataruvascha kripa sindhubheva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you all so much for joining and giving your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Thank you.